So imagine someone describing a port in Hong Kong. Ships from Spain loaded with goods have just arrived and docked. They head straight to a big warehouse in the center of Hong Kong, describing its shape and the people inside. Meanwhile, a big gang is planning something. A few of them go and open the door, and suddenly they start grabbing stacks of cash all over the place. In the middle, there's a room where a guy named Ivan is sitting. They open the door to him and take him out. After that, they start unloading the money and counting it. You see piles of black money, so much that it's overflowing. What's really going on here? Who is this Ivan? What is he doing? And why did a shipment from Spain bring over $1.5 billion? Should we do a flashback to find out? Years before all this, he used to work in the parking lot of a certain place bringing cars. This guy would bring one car after another, fighting against time and collecting tips to help himself and his family. He spent the whole day like this, and at night he would go home exhausted. Our guy was poor, really poor, living like a fly in the lining, barely scraping by. On his way, beaten down by life, he suddenly had an idea. What if he fixed up cars and sold them? But what about the money needed to do that? To make money, you need money, as the old saying goes. On top of that, he used to go to work every single day, and people would always talk endlessly about experience, about knowledge, about skills, and all that sort of thing. At first, things seemed to go well, at least on the surface. Everyone wanted to get married. There were weddings happening everywhere, my boy, in every corner of the town. The hall was never, ever empty. There was a wedding every single day, and sometimes, believe it or not, even 2 weddings in one day. They were still playing tricks with the wedding money, always finding new ways to use it. The wedding money was taken and spent on travel, on journeys, on adventures. Raise your hands and pray for the one who came up with the idea of using wedding money for travel, for trips, for seeing the world. Go on, my boy, just like you deprived us of chicken with dagmira, olive oil, and harissa, and now you want to take 20 kilos and hit the road with just a piece of bread. Where did we leave it? Where did we leave that tradition, that way of life? The weddings were something else, especially in the early years. He really made it, bought a big house, and they were living well. But his current situation is impossible. Then came the year 1993, bringing with it a huge economic crisis. Many businesses went bankrupt, including Boan Ivan's business. He drowned in debt, and they seized most of his assets. The only thing he had left was that shop, and he was still paying rent on it. Anyway, he stayed with his mother and father in the shop until it closed. Sometimes he would go out at night with his friends. Ivan couldn't get the idea of the apartment out of his head. He suggested to his friends that they take out a loan together to buy it, fix it up, sell it, and split the profits. But who was he talking to? The only thing his friends cared about was partying and girls. They kept going out and partying at their places. One day while he was at work, he ran into a guy who was completely wasted. And when I say wasted, I mean really out of it, barely able to stand. He asked his friend about him, and his friend said, "You don't know him? He's a big parliamentarian in Brussels." "Wait, parliamentarians get drunk?" he asked. "And do they also have a sixth sense?" He could see the situation was bad. He called his friend and asked him to let him handle it. At that moment, he took the contact, went and brought the guy's car, and couldn't get him out until he was practically carrying him into the house. The guy couldn't stand anymore, so he hit him with a slap to wake him up, helped him up, and offered to drive him to Brussels for 300 euros. The drunk guy thought it was a godsend. "If you get me there quickly, and I still have time to shower, I'll give you 500 euros. He helped him up, took his bag, put it in the trunk, and drove off until he disappeared like a nail in the sand. The road was smooth, nothing but good fortune. He only stopped to let the guy catch his breath, then kept going. By morning, they were in Brussels. He took him to the address he gave him, got the bag out of the trunk, and waited a year before knocking on the door. A woman named Marie opened the door. She asked him what he wanted. He started to say he was late, and she let him in. After a while, he knocked again, and the guy came out, gave Ivan 300 euros, took his keys, and Ivan said, "You promised 500 if I got you here in time to shower." The guy replied, "God help you." Ivan didn't like that, but the job was done. He waited until he was sure the guy was dead drunk, then stood at the door. Marie came out and asked what he wanted. He told her he didn't know what they did there or what their job was, but their friend was passed out. Marie heard this, got worried, and asked him to wait. She went in, counted the money, and found it was short. How did she know it was short? Let me tell you, one of the times he stopped to let the guy catch his breath, curiosity got the better of him. He opened the bag to see what was inside and found it full of diamonds. For a moment, he thought about taking them and running, but he knew wherever he went, they'd find him. So he just took a single bill, slipped it into his pocket, and moved on. He was planning to just take it and leave, but when the drunk guy woke up, he handed them the rest. When Maria counted the money, she found it really was short. She came out and asked him why. He told her, "I work with you guys now in his place. You be in Eunice, and I'll be in Eunice and a half. Before you know it, I'm in the job." The next day, they saw a Range Rover pulling a cart with a horse. His first job was to deliver that horse to a farm owned by someone named S. And let me tell you, I swear on everything, I didn't know what was going on. And with all the platinum you see, you get your share. And between you and me, even that car was a bomb. S was really happy with the horse, took it to the stable, and asked Ivan to come with him. Our guy thought his job was just to deliver the horse, but when he went inside, he was shocked to see a bag full of money, just like the one he delivered to the drunk guy. S told him, the most important thing in this job is precision and keeping your mouth shut. That's what he sent his friend to do. I told you, he had nothing but luck and good fortune. The car was solid, never let him down, and he always got paid for the trips he made. After a while, he was back on the road, and before he knew it, night had fallen and he was in Brussels, feeling happy and thinking he'd succeeded. But before he could reach his destination, some officers stopped him. Oh, Hamid, may you never find yourself in a situation like that. They asked him for the car papers, and he handed them over. Is this your car? They asked. No, it's my friend's car. Open the trunk. Why? I told you, open the trunk. He didn't want to, but they insisted, right there at the checkpoint. They pulled out the bag and said, is this yours, Sadi? Is this your sister's? Except that the cop, that guy, banged his head against the car. They tried to make him confess, but when they saw he was stubborn and wouldn't give in, they checked the trunk and then let them go. At that moment, he realized they had sent him as a test. When he got to the office, she was waiting for him. She said, bravo, you passed the test. She took the bag from him and gave him an envelope full of cash. The boss gave him 10,000 euros for the job and told him, go buy yourself some nice clothes. You need to look sharp for our work. At that moment, he was over the moon with happiness. 10,000 euros, the kind of money you only see on TV. He couldn't even buy himself a small thing before. That night, he went out with Maria to a casino. From the way she talked and acted with him, it was clear she liked him. They had a few drinks, gambled a bit, and wanted to have a good time. When the night was over, you know how it goes. In the morning, he woke up feeling great. Money in his pocket, he'd spent the night with Maria. He went to the cafe to wait for her and the big boss, Ivan. This is Francois, my husband. He's the big boss. Damn, what a mess. She wanted to set him up. Our guy realized what was going on. He'd spent the night with another man's wife and it cooled him off. He barely managed to calm himself down. This Francois, his father was one of the biggest diamond smugglers and he also dealt in real estate and was involved in foreign currency smuggling. He met Ivan and from that day on, he officially became his smuggler. The job was very easy. Pick up a nice package, cut the deal, take the bag of money and deliver it to the place Ivan told him. Most of the money he was given, he delivered to Belgium. Why Belgium? Because a lot of diamonds are smuggled there and there's a huge volume of banking transactions. That means a lot of money goes in and out. These two things made it much easier for them to launder money, especially when it came to buying and selling diamonds. What are these two things, my friend? Brother, honestly, I didn't really get it myself. Anyway, to sum it up, they launder the money. After the laundering, all your money gets locked up in Swiss bank accounts. We even found out who brings this money for the corrupt people. And they told us that the one who brings the money is the Spanish middleman who wants to launder his money. And the gang that launders his money, most of his friends are either politicians, bank managers, or friends from big companies. This politician, for example, takes a piece of land, splits it up, and sells it off so he can get the money, launder it, and then transfer it to his account in Switzerland. Sometimes they lend it to someone with a small interest, give him a fake invoice, and especially they launder the fake invoice too. In short, they can rob the state and split the loot among themselves, our oil and our flour. One day, Ivan came to pick up the money. As usual, he met Letitia, started talking to her, tried to charm her, and stood over her. He told her, "You're going to see the head of the house." And Ivan realized what was going on. He said, "Get that idea out of your head, or else I'll do something to you." He took the bag of money from her and left it with a Belgian woman. The money was waiting for her in a restaurant, and when they went in, they saw the security guard following him. I swear it was strange. We were the only ones who didn't know what was going on. He put the bag down for her and didn't say a word about the money. Then he heard someone laughing with a woman behind them. People who looked like they were just having fun, nothing suspicious. So he didn't pay much attention, just chatted a bit with Marie. After that, they moved to deliver the money to the place where it would be laundered. They arrived at the place, and Mito Stoffel was waiting for them. Stoffel had invented a new system they used in their branch. They gave him the money, he counted it, and they did their paperwork, but not in the account they wanted to transfer it to. At dinner, he talked to the key person and mentioned our friend who he saw in the morning on national TV. He said, "You know, that guy is a politician, and the woman with him is his wife." But here's the problem. The woman with him on TV that morning wasn't his wife. So... With all these moves, Ivan stopped and got a room card from someone at the hotel they were staying in. But as soon as he tried to go in, security stopped him, frisked him, and he started fumbling in his pockets, gave them 10 euros and asked, "What do you want with this?" "Just turn a blind eye." "Okay, no problem, but tell me what you want to do." He said, I just want to stick some cameras. Fine, give them to me and I'll stick them for you. Ivan had no other choice, so he gave them to him and waited at the door, keeping an eye out. Our friend was also on edge. Khaled, today you're going to stick them and then come out and say, you'll see, just watch what's going to happen. That politician was one of them. Who are these people who are about to get in trouble? Honestly, things are so mixed up. We can't explain everything. We just have to live it. The security guard kept asking, what do you want the money for so you don't get exposed? He said, the money will come to me directly. All right, my name is Yanni. If you need anything, just let me know. Ivan got along well with Yanni, and they decided to work together. From that day on, they never separated. Yanni worked security in a lot of places and spoke different languages, so he helped them a lot. Another day, that politician was at a party at his house. His name was Okania, a big politician with lots of connections. If someone wanted to buy land, he'd help them. If someone wanted to build something without a permit, he'd help them. He was there with his wife and some family members, and they asked him to join them for something. When they entered the house, Ivan changed the video. Our friend saw himself being filmed in a tight spot. The lights went out, and people came at him from behind. What do you want? He said, I used to work with a money laundering and smuggling network, and now I want to start my own network. So what do you need from me? You will introduce me to all the people who bring in suspicious money, and you'll make them trust me with their money. He kept pressing me about this in the video, but he couldn't say it. A few days later, he took it from someone at a party, brought Ivar to his friends, and told them, this is my sister's son, Ivan, a sharp guy. At first, they were hesitant to work with him. We already knew what they were up to, so why would we change things? Okania started trying to convince them, saying he was his sister's son and that he vouched for him. In the end, he managed to persuade them, at least to give him a trial run to see how he handled the job, and then decide if they'd keep working with him. They all agreed, and from the next day, they started giving him money to launder. They'd collect the money they got, and at night, take it to the casino. That's what this scam was all about. Things were going well and the money was coming in, but the problem was trust. They were helping each other, but at the same time, everyone was looking out for themselves. If anyone got caught, the scam would fall apart. That's when the problem started. One day, someone came to give him money and his client was about to leave when Ivan stopped him and tried to warn him, but the scam was already in motion. Suddenly, my daughter and I stopped them, and Ivan tried to explain, but I told him there was nothing to explain. He was too close to the fire and had to face the consequences. The next day, while you were driving, the scam guys ambushed you. No greetings, no words. They didn't stop for you, just beat you up and threatened that if they saw you again, they'd finish you off. They took your car and left. You thought that was it. But every time there's a beating, will they just let it go? What do you think will happen next? Is there anyone who managed to escape from the wedding house? The next day, he went to Scam's house too. His whole face was bruised and his hand was broken. What did you do here? Wasn't the beating you got yesterday enough for you? We just came to tell you that we're not leaving the neighborhood, so what? Just like you heard. But we have an offer for you. We won't go near your clients and we'll give you 20%. You give us 30. 20 is what's on the table. 20% for the first year, and after that, you'll get 30. That's it. They made a deal with Scam to give him 20% and not approach his clients on the site, and he'd let them work in the neighborhood. But our guy couldn't sleep. He kept running away, and he'd get up and go out. And when they had a gathering, they'd go to the doorman drinking, getting drunk, and when it came time to pay, they'd pay at the same rate. They paid for 2 or 3 years. He also knew politicians, businessmen, everyone who wanted to launder money, all at the same time. He knew the clients and even the police. So one morning, Maria came to see him. Our guy was in the bathroom and she waited for him to finish. That day, he wasn't himself. He was nervous. Maria told him that news had reached France that the Financial Crimes Unit was monitoring Scam, and since they worked directly with them, they might be under surveillance too. Our guy listened to this, and as soon as Gilbert left the room, he checked the whole place to make sure there were no bugs, cameras, or anything recording. He was on edge. He went out to the street, hid his car, and thought maybe it was just paranoia. But from the way the party went, they were going to catch them waiting in the parking lot. Ivan was in control of this world, and fear was just a rumor. Their intention was to ask them to go to their boss. And who would that be? Officer Royk. Royk came up from behind and said, "Look, I know everything you're doing. You have one of 2 choices. Either give me evidence so I can arrest Scam and Okina and you'll walk away, or I'll close it down myself and then you'll all get arrested." They started thinking, turning it over in their heads. Ivan and Daram were on edge. He told them, "We're with you." When they left, he called Alian. "What is this you're doing?" "He arrests them and leaves us alone, and we know what we're doing." He already had a plan to clear suspicion from himself. He gave me the bag of money and told me I had to call him, and he sent my daughter away on a trip right when the arrest started so she'd be out of it. Her father traveled with Ivan. She cut ties with him and started yelling, and people heard her. She took her time, didn't care, and let him have it until he was satisfied. In the end, she told him she was grown up and knew what was good for her, and she hung up on him. Ivan lived the high life in Paris. Nothing was too expensive. Fancy hotels, casinos. A few days after he traveled, the arrests began. They caught Scam and Okaina, and with them, all the corrupt politicians connected to them. Letitia, who knew about it, got caught with a few things and went back to Spain. Ivan wondered if the officer only arrested them to save himself. No, he betrayed them. He was in a bad state, and he set them up to take their place. When he got the chance to send them to jail, he didn't waste it. He got arrested today, and the next day, he went to Francois and Marie, offered them a deal, and took care of their clients. Francois and Marie were with him and knew what was going on. After the wave of arrests, they decided to stop working altogether, at least for a while, until things calmed down. He insisted, saying that in this crisis, everyone wanted to move their money, but he didn't know who refused him. The money he had left, he went back to Spain, back to the parties and drinking. All that money was gone. He became addicted to a woman, broke up with her, and all of this led to news of his father's death. Our guy was devastated. Everything he'd built over the years was destroyed in an instant, and he went back to being the ordinary guy we started the story with. And it wasn't just him. When the politicians got arrested, Spain fell into a bad economic state, and a lot of people lost their jobs. Alcohol became common in the neighborhood again, but he'd still go out with his friends, just like before. One day, they were all gathered in a restaurant in the neighborhood saying, "Let's not leave him, let's take his money and ban him from the restaurant." The way they treated him, you'd think he was a gangster. Our guy lost all his money, but he still had that sixth sense that let him sense trouble. When they left, he borrowed a car, followed them, and felt that he'd find an opportunity to work. They went to a lot of shops, took money from the owners, and planned to set them up. The next day, we saw them visiting Okaina in prison, asking about their business, and Okaina wasn't getting paid at all. He sat there, explaining to them that the shop management was just a front, and in reality they were dealing in bootleg alcohol and smuggling money to Hong Kong. So they asked, "How do you smuggle it?" They were using the traditional method, hiding the money in bags or strapping it to people's bodies, but a lot of them got caught and lost their money. When our guy heard this, he got an idea. That very evening, he came up with a plan. Here's how it worked. Because of the economic crisis, all the Spaniards who had smuggled their money to Switzerland now wanted to bring it back. But with the politicians arrested, there was a lot of scrutiny. So what was his idea? The money the Chinese wanted to smuggle out, he'd give to the Spaniards, and the money the Spaniards had in Switzerland, he'd send to the Chinese in Hong Kong. He didn't sleep that night thinking about the idea. The big Chinese boss told Ivan about it. Ivan hesitated a bit, then asked him for the account where he wanted the money transferred. He got the account, ordered the transfer, and sent over 3 million. When the Chinese saw the money arrive, they agreed to work with him. From there, the money started flowing again. Just like before, he'd collect money from the Chinese, distribute it to the Spaniards who wanted cash, and take the money from the Spaniards' Swiss accounts to send to China. The plan worked well, the money was moving, and our guy felt like he was back on top, but things don't always go as planned. One night while Maria was having dinner, Scam showed up. How did they get out? The money was real, plus he had connections. He figured they'd get him out in a year, keep people quiet, and then release him. And that's it, the rest is just fasting for a year while I'm in prison. And you say, did any of you come visit me? At the beginning, Maria was explaining to him, she told him that they had to disappear. That's just how it is. No problem, I would have done the same thing. But the one thing I'd never do is turn you into the police. He also knew how to keep his mouth shut, to bottle things up. May God help them out. They went back down to the place where they were staying, and he was also getting ready to sleep. Maria was joking around saying, "Here, look at what's written in the newspaper. What's going on? The traitors who launder money for them in Switzerland, that's a secret place." He said the clients who deal with him, he asked if they were connected to Francois. They said Francois was killed and all the money in the accounts disappeared. Our guys were under pressure. They started thinking, trying to find a solution. In the end, the only solution they saw was to hang on. They packed their things, got in the car, and left from there. But as soon as they got a little distance, the police started following them. They were on their tail. Things were tense. The Porsche was flying, and he didn't even have time to warn the others. The nail brought them with the other car. He managed to distract them, but they barely got away. Then, suddenly, the Chinese men appeared, saying, "Come here, where do you think you're going?" They tied them up, covered their faces, and when they uncovered them, they found themselves in front of the Chinese boss. That leak even had their names in it, and he especially wanted to get rid of Ivan so that no one would be left to testify against him. Ivan started begging, saying he wouldn't say anything, but it was useless. His men finished him off, and there weren't many left. One day, he told me they had another idea to get rid of the money for the Chinese. The Chinese heard about this and didn't stop. What did they say? That the accounts in Switzerland would be closed, and he would betray them. Did he explain the plan to him? And at night, we'll see them loading up, and all the money in the container, 1.5 billion euros, 1 million on top of 1 million. The plan was for him to smuggle the money to China to get the money out of the country. He even got rid of anyone who could testify against him in court. He said goodbye to Maria, made arrangements with her to take his passport and come back for her so they could go live together somewhere far away. He went in with the money in the container. All summer long, the port was busy. The money was loaded onto a ship from a Spanish port to Hong Kong, then loaded onto a truck and straight to the warehouse. When they opened the truck, they started unloading the cargo. And here we're back to the scene we started with. The story goes according to the money. They confirmed it. And when they asked him, he gave them his ID and let them see. Our guy was over the moon with happiness. From the warehouse, he went straight to a gate, laughing and celebrating, thinking to himself, I crossed the river and no one caught me. But when he got to the party, the police were waiting for him. What happened? An international arrest warrant had been issued for him. He was arrested that same night, and before he knew it, by morning, he found himself in front of the investigator, Loic, in Spain. Things were moving fast. The only solution left for our guy was to offer him money. He told him he'd give him €1,000,000 to let him go. But Loic refused. He wouldn't get himself involved in this. And when he didn't want the money, he told him, you must have been set up by someone. He started to suspect the Chinese, or maybe even Maria. The last thing our guy expected was for Maria to betray him. The world started spinning around him. When he went to court, he saw her leaving and she didn't even say hello. She just gave him a sideways glance and walked away. Even went through the trial and was sentenced to 15 years in prison. The ironic part is that he later appeared in a TV interview and exposed all the corrupt politicians who were stealing budgets and laundering money. Right after their interview, they were all arrested and the system was restructured from scratch. So, is crime worth it? Even those guys got caught. And with that, we've reached the end of the story. If you liked it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends. See you in the next video.